Welcome back to an all-new episode of Hebrew Hits. I'm your host, Malia. I'm so excited to interview Avraham Ben Avraham today. He is a ger now for 2 months, literally only 2 months, and I'm so excited to hear his story. So, Avraham, welcome to Hebrew Hits. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's awesome to have this opportunity, to speak my story and everything.
So, you're very welcome. So, before we talk about you being a Jew now, I want to go back and actually hear your story about what it was like to grow up as a non-Jew. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? What was life like as a non-Jew? You're listening to Hebrew Hits. I'm your host, Malia, and I'm so excited that you're tuning in to this show because that means that you want to succeed in life and you do not want to fail. Many of us go through such difficult challenges in life, and it's up to us not to fall victim to them. It's up to us to rise above it and to succeed. I sit down with people who have gone through real big struggles and show that they overcame them and are super successful today. It's what you do with what you have that makes a difference. Hebrew Hits is presented by TMC.
Okay, so my family's from Colombia. I was born in Miami, but I lived in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. And
Wow.
So on, just cities and cities. In Colombia, of course, I lived. And it's just been back and forth.
Why do you live in so many different places?
I wasn't raised with a normal mother and father family. I lived with my mother, then my grandmother, then I moved with my aunt, then my uncle, then my mother, then my grandmother, then somehow my father, etc. So it's just different cities.
So while living in different cities, were you able to pick up different cultures and different ideas of how you wanted to live? Or did that impact your life at all?
A little bit, yes. But
In what way?
especially when I was about 14 years old. That was the first time I actually spoke with a rabbi. So in that moment, it's okay, life is a little bit different than what I've been seeing and hearing and whatever.
And you've never met a rabbi before that?
No.
Wow. So let's get into a little bit. So tell me what life was like before you turned 14 years old.
Okay, so I was born in Miami. Two weeks later, I went back to Colombia with my mother and father somehow. And I lived there until I was 4 years old. When I was 4 years old, we came back, my mother, my grandmother, and I. We lived in New Jersey, then New York, then Miami, Sarasota, Hialeah, Tampa, Hialeah.
What is that?
That's a city. I think that's how you say it. I have no idea.
Okay.
And just back and forth, back and forth. And my family was Christian, so I would go to church every Sunday. And I lived with my grandmother a lot, and she was always, she was the most spiritual one in the family, and she was always, giving me, pushing me to believe in a creator, believe in God. Of course, a little bit with their doctrines, the way they believe in. And for example, when I was about 4 years old, 5 years old, I knew 4 Psalms by heart.
Oh, wow.
And I could even speak good, like a baby, kind of. Yeah.
Like what?
Like a baby.
Like a baby. Okay, I was wondering what you were saying.
Yeah, like a baby. I was speaking like a baby, and yeah, she always.
So your grandmother was basically the inspiration in the house.
Yes.
Definitely. She was very connected. How was she very connected? What was she connected to?
I think is how she lived. It was hard for her. She lived hard stuff. She had to run away from Colombia because the guerrilla was trying to kill her and trying to grab her. They actually stole her stuff.
When you say gorillas, I'm sorry. I may sound like I don't know things, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. Because I would think of an animal.
So you see the animals?
Oh, was it actually animals?
No, I'm joking.
Oh,
Imagine.
okay.
No, it's actually humans.
That's what I thought.
They're lefties, and they are but extreme. They kidnap people. They're
gosh.
drug lords. They do bad stuff. So basically, they were they were telling her, if you don't give us money to support our cause, then we are taking your stuff. And that was what's happened. It happened.
And that was in Colombia.
Yeah.
Did you ever experience something like that as well happen to you?
So she told me once, I was a baby, I can't remember this, that my family was in a house and they were coming to the house with like rifles and everything to grab money. And there was a guy upstairs, a family, like he's a friend from the family, and he was fixing something upstairs, like constructions. And when he saw them, he was like, don't go in, don't come in. There's soldiers, they're talking with their, like there's soldiers inside with the family.
What?
And they're talking, like he made a whole thing so that they can come inside.
And they believed him?
They believed him. You never know.
Wow.
Be a shooting there. They didn't want problems, so they didn't come back.
Wow, would you say that was your scariest experience?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that. So what was your scariest experience?
Okay, I'll tell you that one. One day we went to church. It was a Sunday. My cousin, he's a professional soccer player now.
Oh, cool.
You
want to share his name?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel what?
Escobar.
What team is he on?
He's in Ecuador.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
So he needed stuff from the house, right? So from the church, we went to another house. But since he needed stuff from my aunt's house, we made that stop.
Okay.
When we went inside, I wanted to grab the PlayStation. My cousin she's older than me. She was going to grab the stuff he needed. I think it was like clothing. And my little cousin, he was going to help me grab everything because my aunt was like, let's go fast.
You wanted to get out of there?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
like grab stuff fast because they're waiting for us to have lunch.
Oh, okay.
So we went inside and I just see some big guy grab my little cousin like from the neck. And I'm like, what is that? Like everything was so fast. I'm like, what was that? And then out of nowhere, I just feel a hand here.
Oh my gosh.
And they threw me to the corner of a room. And they had a gun. They put it like right in front of me, like pointing at me. And there was like 4 other guys. And they told me, call your aunt. So I was like shocked. Then they told my cousin, the oldest one, call him. And she tried to call him out the window and she couldn't, like words did not come out. So basically they brought them in, my mother and my aunts, they brought them in upstairs where we were, and they tied their hands and they put a blanket on top of us. And then my cousin was like, he couldn't breathe. So they took off the blanket. He started to breathe. So they put everyone facing the wall except for us. And one guy got the gun and like pointed at I don't remember I think it was my aunt's head, like pointing at her and saying, let's kill them. They saw our faces. So I was so scared. Everybody was crying. And then they just left us.
Why?
They stole stuff and they just left.
Was this the normal thing that went on in Colombia?
Yeah, it usually is, sadly.
That is not safe.
Not everywhere. Yeah, it's not safe. Not everywhere, but yeah.
That is, first of all, that is a horrible story. I can't even that's just one thing that happened in your life, and that one thing alone is enough to traumatize anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you thought you were gonna die, no?
Definitely. When they said because it was like one was saying let's kill them, the other one saying no, let's not only them, not the kids. So I was like, wait, so I'm gonna see my mother die?
Oh my gosh.
It was all crazy.
So what was going through your mind when you thought that you were gonna die?
So it's funny because I started looking at them at the faces, and I started thinking in movies. I'm gonna imagine everyone's face. And then if the police comes, I'm going to tell them, everyone, how they look.
Wow.
I was thinking of that.
You weren't thinking about that you're about to die and you're very young.
Not really. For a moment, I was like, they're not going to kill us. It's not going to end like this.
That is so scary.
For a moment. In the beginning, I was very scared.
Is that when your mom said, okay, we're done, we're picking up and leaving?
No.
How much longer did you stay in Colombia?
No, that was when I was about 11 years old. So that was like later on.
Oh, it was after Miami.
Yeah.
So how much longer did you stay in Colombia before your parents said it's enough, we're leaving? Or did they not say you're leaving?
My mother is living over there.
Oh, she's still there?
Yeah, she likes it more over there. It's
Wow,
interesting
after that
because-
experience, I'm like, how does she stay?
Exactly. It's complicated. Because over there, you got your pros and your cons. It's not so safe in some cities. But also the quality of living, the food, everything is more natural. It's like,
Talking about pros and cons, I actually have an interesting question for you that my audience may find interesting. Being that you were, not Jewish, and now you're a ger, so now you're Jewish, tell me a pro that you have being a non-Jew.
a pro.
Yeah.
Of-
Like, what's a pro that you were like, wow, like being a non-Jew, this is a pro?
Okay.
Because
for-
obviously there's cons because you became a Jew, but like, I'm curious to know if there are any pros in your mind.
I think it would be, and it's kind of dumb, to be honest, because whatever, you can live without it.
Okay.
That food is more like you could go anywhere to eat. It's not a thing that you're like, okay, I'm going to this city because I have to go to work or something. Oh, but there's only like one place where there's something kosher,
Yeah.
and there's only like 5 items there. That's like the hardest thing. But it's not even that. Oh, I could eat these things. It's not that. Oh, I could eat this with this. It's not even that. Because whatever, that doesn't matter. It's just superficial stuff that.
It's like you go to the mall and you're hungry and you can't buy food because
There you
there's
go.
no, like, me being Jewish from birth, I grew up with this. So I know wherever you are, you got to bring food with you because you never know if there's going to be kosher food unless you're in a place where there's a lot of kosher food. So how was that transition now being a Jew? Is that a hard transition for you?
No.
Going from,
You just gotta think about ahead.
Yeah.
Like you just said, you just gotta think ahead.
yeah.
Like be smart about it. Don't get there and be like, oh wait, I need food.
Yeah. This is very interesting because I see you and I see that you're such a calm, easygoing, happy person. Like the times that I've spoken to you. And were you always of this nature, or is it because now you're a Jew and like things make sense and there's like, a life path for you in a way that you want to live, that you are like this?
No, always been like this. Even more in a sense that because happiness is so big, Baruch Hashem, you can start talking more, and it becomes an idle talk, and it becomes just stupidity coming out of your mouth, like nonsense,
Okay.
because of so much, like when you're with friends and this and that, and everybody's like so happy and whatever. It's different. So now you gotta be more careful. Like you gotta actually know what you're saying.
Why are you saying now? You're saying because of like Lashon Hara? Guard your tongue?
Yeah, exactly. And because your words count. Your words are
Yeah.
something. It's not just, nothing. They mean something.
Do you feel that your words really truly do mean something? And you didn't feel that when you were a non-Jew?
Not yet. Not the way I want it to be.
No.
No.
What do you feel now?
That's the mission. That's the goal.
That what?
Because that's the mission. That's the goal.
The mission.
Because
Okay.
yeah, because if you feel that your words are are something, I think it's because you make them like that. You don't say anything to anyone. You don't. You're shomer. You guard what you're saying. You keep a promise. If you say something, you do something.
Mhm.
You do it. But if you lack on that, then your word is it
Yeah.
something? Like they say, if you are careful with your words here, whenever you give a bracha or something, Hashem will make it true.
Wow.
Because if you're guarded, Hashem will guard it too.
It's amazing.
So that's the goal. That's the goal.
You know what I find amazing with you is that, yes, it's been 2 months, but the amount that you know and the amount that you feel is so much like bigger than I would expect anybody in being a Jew for 2 months to even understand. And I find it so fascinating. Like, how did you learn so quickly?
Just in Spanish we say, la curiosidad mató al gato.
Okay.
That means curiosity. How do you say that word?
Okay. Curiosity, yeah.
Kill the cat.
Kill the cat?
Yeah. because you search, you want to read, you want to learn, you listen to this, you listen to that, you're open, you open your mind to what this group of individuals are saying and what these are saying, and taking the best out of each one. And that's what I've been doing for the past, not 2 months, but actually years.
Yeah.
Before becoming a Jew, you got to do a process.
Yeah.
Before I even started that process, I was already trying to read and trying to learn as much as possible.
So how long has that been? Like a couple of years?
Before COVID started, 2019.
Oh, wow. So this is long.
Almost 2018.
How old were you?
Not long. 3 years. 21.
Wow. So for me, I find it so interesting because as a 21-year-old, generally, you want to just go out and party and have fun. People aren't just like changing up their religion, especially to Judaism, which is in people's minds very restricting. I mean, you know, you daven 3 times a day. There's Shabbos. You can't go out on the weekends and do muksa and all that. You can't hang out with girls. There's so many restrictions. So I'm curious to know why you chose Judaism, and if you can share with my audience, with the people who are actually from birth that don't appreciate Judaism because we've been brought up with it, that maybe have a hard time with it, but maybe if you can give them some sense of where you're coming from to actually inspire them to be like, okay, wow, like that is why he wanted to be a Jew. I'm so fortunate to have been born into Judaism, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a big
question. It's very big.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was saying the other day, if you buy a watch, it comes with a manual. If you buy a car, it comes with a manual. Buy a watch, how hard can it be to use? Like really, you just go like this and you just press in, that's it. With a car, okay, a car is harder, but who reads the manual? That's why cars break down and you have no idea what to do.
Right.
So how much more so life? It's so complicated. Feelings, emotions, what is right, what is wrong, what to do in this situation, is that, what does a TV work for, what does this work for? Like, okay, what are you supposed to do when somebody tells you this, that, you know, so many things. Life needs a manual. If things so simple have one, how much more so life? And putting that on the side, as a goy, as a non-Jew, you only say thank you to Hashem. You keep 7 laws, and you only say thank you. That's about it. Now imagine.
Did you know the 7 laws, or you were not connected?
I heard
did?
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard of them. And I wish the whole world would actually do those 7 laws. It would be a way better world. Don't get me wrong. It's a huge 7 laws. People they're not even doing it. But for me personally, it's just not enough. Those 7 laws is not enough, and saying thank you is not enough. Imagine a mother or a father that they're home, they come home tired, and their kids just throw everything. And their shoes are there, there's mud everywhere, there's everything everywhere. And the mother wants those kids to put everything where they go. They want more than just saying, thank you, Mom, for this, thank you, Mom, for that. They want them to actually do something, a little bit, help out. Now, of course, saying thank you is awesome. We should all give more thanks to Hashem for every single thing. We lack that every day. But it's just not enough for me. I want to give more. And, okay, so I want to give more. Now what? How can I give more? Oh, so, okay, there's a manual to give more, to do what you're supposed to do. Okay, awesome. What is that? The Torah, right? Now, if you read, you can read, it says that it was given to Klal Israel. It was given to the Jewish nation, right? So, wait, I can't do it. I can't go by the word of Hashem. I can't have that relationship with Hashem of me not only receiving, but also trying to give him, whatever that means, because we can't give Hashem. But I want to. So I need to be Jewish in order to have a relationship.
Oh my gosh, I'm literally have no idea what's going on right now. I'm like freaking out in a good way. It's just like, whoa. At such a young age, you're just so in tune with like life and what you want. Like you were searching for a manual because like life is so complicated and so complex that you realized you needed something to guide you. And so you found Judaism. Before we move on to the story of how you found Judaism, I want to just go back to that question that I had about partying and being young and 21 and wanting to hang out with different types of people, you know. Do you how did you feel that you can take the leap and say, okay, I want to become Jewish and give that up? Because that seems like it would probably be like a fun life.
So so I'll tell you this. When I was 14, so it goes back to the story of how things happen. There was a moment in my life where I was the lowest I've ever been, and it'll come with the story of.
We could start with the story if it makes sense in the details, if you'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
so we can start with the story then.
So I've been back and forth, but when I was 14, when I met that rabbi, I was living in Colombia. My grandmother was here in Queens.
Okay.
So I moved in with her, and I was living with her for like 2 months, but then I stayed for a whole year, and she tells me that she was going to the shiur, that if I wanted to come. And first of all, she's not Jewish.
Shiur? I'm like, yeah, she's Jewish.
She's not Jewish. She's so spiritual. She stopped believing in Christianity. When I was about 12 years old, I forgot to say this, I also didn't want to go to church anymore. I didn't like it anymore because it's, if you actually ask the right questions, you get to the truth that everything is like a lie. You know, everything is.
How did you know what the right questions were to ask?
For example, how is it that somebody comes to this world, right, and says, oh, you see those 5 books in the beginning, you know, of the Bible, Torah? You don't have to do that anymore. Hashem said you don't have to do it anymore. Doesn't make sense. That Mamish doesn't make sense because Hashem he does not. We were talking about the word. He does not say something and just say, you know what? Never mind. No, he's eternal.
But how did you know that was the truth and not Christianity or Catholicism?
So by that moment, I didn't know.
You didn't know. Okay.
I was just looking at people. Like, for example, another example is on a Sunday, you would go and see people, I don't know, crying in church. And then the minute is finished, everyone is like arguing outside and they're fighting or speaking Lashon Hara about the pastor.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was like, and I'm like, wait, you guys were just crying 5 minutes ago. And I was little, but you could see it. And then I didn't like it anymore. You can see the false. Like you can see it. So
and you wanted religion. You were looking for the truth. You weren't just like, oh, I don't want this. I don't want any religion.
Not by that moment. Too little to understand that.
Wow.
I mean,
you do seem like you have an older soul in your body. So, I mean, you're saying a little too young to understand, but I think you were very, very in tune even at that age.
On my level that I was, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was 14, I had my mind was a little bit more open. And then my grandmother told me, I go to this shiur. She didn't say shiur, she told me in Spanish. And I said, okay, let's go, why not? So when I got there, I spoke to the rabbi. I made some questions about what they believe, about what I used to believe, about, you know, just general stuff about life.
Mm-hmm.
And he answered that, so like nice, good answers. So I said, okay, I want to keep coming. So I would go once a week, and I liked it. But then when I was 14, I was in 8th grade, I went to public school here. So by one part, like on one side, it was Judaism, the rabbi, this. But on the other side, I met people that were also giving me bad choices. And I was taking those choices.
Yeah.
So I was taking good and bad choices. And then I went back to Colombia. So in Colombia, I only had bad choices. Of course, you always have good choices, but by that point, I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't there, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I was choosing bad choices. And then when I was 17, 18 years old, I came back to join the army.
Okay.
But I couldn't join the army.
Mm-hmm. Was this the lowest point of your life you were talking
No.
about? You didn't get there yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay.
So I became a personal trainer, didn't join the army.
Okay.
I went back to Colombia after like 2 years. So I was about 20 years old. And I was doing great. I was top trainer in the gym. I was winning, for Colombia, a good amount of money for Colombia. Since I don't have kids, wife, or anything, then
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to spend so much. So I bought like a nice motorcycle of motorcycles. I had my own apartment. I was like,
You were living the life?
yeah.
Okay.
So I had, since in the personal training industry in Colombia, very materialistic, very superficial, like to another level, and people that like party and etc. So I had my place alone. So like, and I could do whatever I want.
Right.
I didn't have no manual of life. I didn't have no structure of life. But in my mind, that was the lowest I ever been.
So tell me about the lowest point. What was it about that? It doesn't sound so low. It sounds like, okay, you were high. Like you had a motorcycle, you had your own apartment.
No, that's the stomp part. Let's just say I was partying too much.
You get into any trouble?
In what sense?
By partying too much? Like, are there, because you were only 20 at the time, is there like alcohol restrictions or nothing?
When you're 18.
Oh, 18. So you're partying way too much. Okay.
Yeah. And then, but in my mind, I knew what was right. I knew there was a Torah. My grandmother, okay, so...
Because you're remembering the rabbi.
The rabbi. Not only that, but my grandmother, she keeps Shabbos somehow. She does melacha, but she, for example, she doesn't use her phone. She buys the challah or makes it. She puts, she lights candles. She buys the wine.
Wow.
She washes her hands.
All from the rabbi.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. And because she watches Breslev on YouTube, Rabbi Jonathan Galit, love him. I love him.
I would never expect a lady from Colombia to be so involved in Judaism. I would have never expected that.
She loves it. She has a chumash, Pirkei Avot, she has a siddur.
So when is she converting? Is she planning on it?
She wants to. She tells me to, but I told her she doesn't have to.
You push her away?
Yeah.
Like people pushed you away, I'm assuming.
Yes. But not only because I have to, it's because she would be, I think she would be the best candidate there is out there right now. At least for her age. But it's not practical for her right now. She lives in a small town. There's nothing there.
She doesn't live in Queens anymore?
No. She
Okay.
lives in Colombia. Small
okay.
town. There's no community. There's nothing. So practical. Plus she has to learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You could always learn. There's never like an age for you to not learn. So, but it's just not practical.
Wow. It seems like you guys would have like the perfect Shabbos meals.
Yeah,
And,
like I need to show you
everything would
pictures.
be like amazing with your grandmother.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your story. So you're partying a little too much in Colombia.
So, but then some nights I would go to sleep and I would like dive into Hashem, like, please get me out of here. Like, get me out of this circle where I am, this life. Just get me out of here. Like, I want to get out of here. It's just not nice. This is not me.
Wow.
What I'm doing is not me. What I'm seeing is not me, etc. And it was hard because that was the circle where I was. It's hard to leave that type of people and whatever. But then my uncle calls me and he tells me, AB, my family calls me AB.
Okay.
AB, I think
it's very cool that you were born as Abraham. That's like your born name.
Yes.
I think it's
yes.
very cool.
Avraham.
Avraham. That's what you were called when you were growing up. Avraham. So your uncle calls you.
My uncle calls me and he tells me, AB, I have the perfect business for you. And I said, in that moment, I was looking for a change. I didn't mind if it was country, state. Since I've moved so many times, for me, it's if I gotta move, I move. If we have to move in 2 days, I'll move in 2 days. You work in this, I'll work in this. I'm only like almost 25 years old, but I had like 10 different jobs.
Wow.
Worked in this, worked in that. It's things that I don't even know how to do, and I just do it. Just whatever, teach me. So, Baruch Hashem. So he tells me that, and I'm like, what's the business? He tells me, we're going to lay eggs.
What?
Exactly. What?
What?
Exactly. I'm like, what?
Chicken eggs, probably.
Yes, hence, yes.
Okay.
So I'm like, what do you mean we're going to lay eggs? Yeah, we're going to sell eggs. I'm like, so? He tells me we're going to have eggs. We're going to have eggs. We're going to have hens that lay eggs. And I say, I'm not a farmer. I'm a trainer. I work like in a gym.
Yeah.
So he tells me, no, we're going to have thousands of them. We're going to have plenty of them. And I said, no, that's not my thing. He tells me, just listen to the numbers. He told me the numbers, and I told him, I'm in. That's it. I don't know where.
He sold you.
With the numbers he sold me, it's like, if anyone wants to do that, like really, you could do it. It's not hard. It's not easy, but it's good money. For example, I'll tell you one thing. If you have 1,000, which is not much, I was going to have 1,500.
Okay.
If you have 1,000 hens, you got about 970
eggs.
No, my bad. 9,700 eggs a day.
Whoa. And how do you sell that? What do you sell it to stores?
Yeah. Distribution. That's the easiest part.
Yeah.
Because people eat eggs every day.
Wow.
In Colombia, at least.
Wow.
So whatever. So I like the numbers. He told me, listen, the reason why I'm calling you is because I need you. Because the farm, it's in another city. And he has a wife. He has 2 girls. Oh, by the way, he's also converting. He's in the process of converting.
Your uncle is converting to Judaism?
Yeah, I forgot that part.
Is it because of you?
No.
I'm telling you something with your grandmother's soul. Is it your grandmother's son?
Yeah. Yes.
Something with your grandmother's soul that she's having her children and her grandchildren converting to Judaism.
It's amazing.
Who knows? It may be like a few generations back she's actually Jewish. You have no idea.
Who knows? That's a good question.
Are your uncle's children and wife converting as well?
Yes. Yes, they're in the process.
I'm in awe.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So he was telling me that. He told me that he's in another city. Since he's with his family, he can't be there at least. He would go once a week, twice a week, I don't know, whatever. And I said, okay. So I moved in with him. Now, we started looking for other farms, just in case. Maybe we find one closer. Plus, the farm that I'm talking about is a farm that was owned by mafia people before.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It was right next to the biggest river in Colombia, the most dangerous river. Not only that, but that it was like the farm and a house, where it was a big house, but nobody's lived there for years. And then the farm, the actual part where the hens go, it needed construction.
Okay, so it's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
But then we said the less money we put on this, more hens we're gonna have.
Yeah.
The more hens, the more eggs, the more eggs, the more money. So I said, okay, I'll put my effort too. So I've never worked in my life so hard, because they had the space was for 20,000 hens. Like, it was a long space, first. And second...
And you got it. This is where you went.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we stayed there. And then in the floor, there was, let's say, I don't know how to say that. It's called gallinaza. It's the mixture of the grass you throw for them and their excrement.
Okay.
So it's very
fertilizer.
hard. And fertilizer and a lot of stuff. So it's a mixture of all of that, condensed, hard, stick to the floor. And it's been there for like 2 years, 3 years. I don't remember. So we had to like shovel that.
Oh my God.
And it was 3 of us. to shovel it. And now if I stopped shoveling, they would the two other guys that were working there, they would go slower. So the slower they would go, the more days it would take, and it was just So we worked on that since like 6:30 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. The other thing is that the water in there wasn't since nobody lived there for years, the water there was, how do you call that?
Like not filtered, not clean?
Yeah, not clean at all. And there was no light, only for some time of the day, in the night, I mean.
So you lived like a real farmer?
Not even. I think real farmers live better.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely. At least, yeah. Maybe not when they're starting, but yeah. And there was this guy there, old guy, with a shotgun. He lived there because he had to be careful that people don't come and steal stuff. So he would tell me stories. He told me, like, for example, he told me that usually the river, why they bought that next to the river, is because they would take people swimming there.
And kill them.
Yeah. Just never seen them again. So, you know.
Do you think that these stories are true, or do you think that they just told you them to scare you?
No, that's true for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the least they've done there.
The scary thing, though, about living near water is that land could be taken. That river could be taken by any government official in a second. No?
Yeah.
That's
definitely.
the law, right?
Especially if it was owned.
Yeah.
Before. It was actually kind of. It was there was a court case there. So about
So
that.
tell me why you're getting to this story with the eggs.
So, okay. So I lived there only for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Oh,
no. Okay.
No, Baruch Hashem, because I was about to live there for like 4 months.
Okay.
But my grandmother, every time I move, I would send my grandmother a video of where I'm living. And she would be happy because it's a good place. But this time I never sent her one. So she was like, what's happening? So I sent her one, and she told me, you're not living there anymore. Go grab another apartment, I'll pay for it.
Wow.
So I moved, whatever. Why am I saying this? Is because the first time I got into my uncle's house, the first thing I saw is a bunch of Sepharim.
What is going on in Colombia? Like, I did not know this existed. Okay.
So I saw a bunch of them.
What kind of Sepharim? Like,
just Jewish. Just
like Hebrew books or English books?
Spanish and Hebrew. Spanish, Hebrew. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So for example, I told him I want to read one. I'm going to have a lot of time here. So he told me, I got to take you to the rabbi. I can't tell you what to read. So he took me to the rabbi, and I started, he asked me questions. Do you have a girlfriend? Do you know what's the Torah? Do you know Hashem? You know this, you know that. And I had most basic knowledge.
Okay.
Like even lower than basic. So he passed me Garden of Emuna. And I'm like, oh, this is Rabbi Shalom Arush. My grandmother actually been telling me for months to read this book, that she would buy it for me. So I said, okay.
And you're allowed to? Like, that's not really persuading someone to start the path of Judaism?
I don't know.
Because you know what it is. Like, in Geirus, like, we're supposed to push the Gerim away until, like, not Gerim, but, like, when you're non-Jew. No, it's so... Judaism is hard. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to tell them, don't become a Jew. Obviously, once you become a Jew, we welcome you in. But because we have to know if you really want it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, but I think he didn't have... I don't know. I can't say this because I don't know what was behind his reasoning of passing me a book.
Yeah.
But I looked very secular. I looked like a guy.
He just wanted to probably bring some inspiration into your life.
It's like, you want to read something, here, read something.
Okay.
I don't know if you might go more than this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you might not even read the book.
What was this rabbi doing in Colombia?
He has a community there.
Is it Chabad?
No.
There's a Jewish community in Colombia.
There's plenty of them. Not plenty.
What type of Jews are they? Are they Sephardi?
There's Sephardi, there's Chabad, there's Ashkenaz.
Wow.
There's actually a chief rabbi.
Wow. So, like, I'm really curious why your uncle got involved with Judaism. I'm assuming it's his mom.
Kind of,
Your
yes.
grandmother.
Kind of, yes. Because
Your story is so interesting because, like, I never heard of so many people in one family like finding Judaism. So you went to this rabbi, he hands you this book. I'm assuming you're super impressed and super inspired.
So I started reading it,
Yeah.
and I loved it. Like I kept on reading it because my point of view before reading any book or anything was, life is so short. Like if you live to 70, pretty much you're lucky for nowadays.
Wow.
If you live to 80, wow, that's impressive. If you live to 90, I hope you're good. You know, so on and so forth. So if life is so short, and people are always feeling sad, people are always feeling angry, people are always feeling for dumb stuff, because this car didn't move, because this one is honking too much, because my son yelled to the dog, and the dog ran and hit this, and something fell off. Like nothing. We're getting angry and sad for nothing. So if life is so short, why am I spending time feeling bad about stuff? Like there's no reason to.
It's so much easier said than done, that topic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, because back in those days, I just didn't care. I said, why? I don't care. If something bad happened, like chas v'shalom,
Good for
something
you.
too bad, you know, that
Yeah.
you actually feel it in your heart, that'll feel bad for it. For example, my grandfather passing away, that'll feel bad.
Yeah.
But for normal stuff happening, like, why? Just
You
who
must
cares?
be born in December.
November 26th.
Oh, okay. End of November, beginning of December. I knew it's your sign.
Yeah.
You're very, very, very. My grandmother is the same sign as you. Very laid back, very easygoing. She has the same attitude as you. It's your nature. It's in your nature. Not everybody is like that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
You know the month signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty into them. So that's how I was able to know you're like at the end of the year, because of your personality trait. You know, it's a
Yeah.
very good trait to have. Let things go.
Yeah. It's dangerous though, but yeah.
I mean, I'm the opposite. I don't let anything go. It's very hard for me to let anything go. So I hear someone like you, and I'm like, how do I become more like that? No matter how much I work on it, it's still hard for me to let things go. Which someone with your personality, it's so much easier. You just let things go.
Yeah. As long as you don't take it to an extreme in both sides.
Yeah.
But so then when I started reading the Garden of Emuna, it has similar to what I was, like my thinking, my philosophy, except that in a way, like on steroids.
Wow.
Because it's Hashem. Now it's not like who cares about these things. It's like, no, care about it, but don't care about it that it should bother you. Because Gamzul Tova, you know, it's Hashem. If something doesn't go like you want it, it's Hashem. You don't know why it is not going this way.
Right.
You don't know why it went that way. And the Garden of Emuna really pushes you to that thought. So it was easy for me to put that philosophy I had, which was wrong, because you shouldn't be like that, but in a way that everything comes from Hashem.
Yeah.
So I love that.
So what happened next in your story?
So after that, I grabbed Orchot HaSadikim, started reading about...
All still in Colombia?
Yes. Mosar.
Okay.
Loved Mosar. And then I bought Pirkei Avot, and then I bought a Chumash. Then COVID happened. So I'm a guy that has to do something. I
Okay.
have to feel productive. I cannot stay still because I just feel anxiety. I don't
Okay.
usually never feel anxiety, Baruch Hashem. But if I stay still, if I don't feel I'm doing something, I feel bad. So I started doing like courses, marketing. I know like how to do a Shopify, how to sell on Amazon, how to make ads
wow.
on this, how to make ads on that. But also I was like, okay, that's my secular part. But now I need time for Hashem too. So I started buying Pirkei Avot, Chumash, more shiur, shiurim online, and just listening to more. I had my schedule like that.
And this is during COVID when everybody's just sleeping in their pajamas
Yeah.
and watching TV.
I was on my computer like for 10 hours a day doing this and shiur and this and that.
Wow.
And my mother was like, whoa, you're doing a lot. So, so my uncle, nothing happened there with my uncle. the Hashem took me out of where I was in my apartment to another city, to a farm, to work hard for nothing. I lost money. I didn't stay with my uncle. And everything just to pick, not just to, but everything to pick up a safer.
Oh my gosh.
You know, it's like
Wow.
from here to there, struggles
Yeah.
and more struggles, and but out of all of that, my family was like, you see, we told you not to go there. We told you how you were so good here.
Yeah.
But it's because they didn't know the background of what was happening to me when I was by myself in Colombia. So it was like, it was so nice.
So you see, like, Hashem is really guiding you, like, in every step of the way. Like,
single step.
you had to go random, like hens and chicken. I'm assuming that he never sold eggs, did he?
Yes, he did.
But you just didn't?
I didn't.
You were out of that.
Yeah, because here's the thing. We don't know about hens or chickens or nothing. We had a right hand. So the right hand, he knew absolutely everything.
Okay.
So, but he was like a crooked guy.
Okay.
He started talking about me to my uncle, like every single day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, talking bad about me. He's not doing anything. He's just sitting back. He comes here late, and it was a lie. I'm telling you, it was a lie. I worked so hard. One day, I threw myself on the floor because I was very tired. I was getting dizzy, and I just laid down. And he took a picture, sent it to him, and told him that's what he does all day.
So your uncle believed it?
So my uncle believed everything, sadly. And he started, he called me and he screamed at me on the phone. And I get him because, listen, it's time, it's effort, it's money. We're putting our 100, he was putting his 100% in, even though he was outside. So I get him why he did that. Mm-hmm. It could have been in a better way, but whatever. So we argued on the phone. I spoke bad stuff to him. Because in my mind I was like, I am here putting my 100% effort. Yeah. And you're there with your family. I didn't say it like that. I say it in a way harsher way.
Wow. Good for you.
No.
No, good for you. You are able to speak your mind. I think it's very, very, very good. I mean, even like your uncle didn't believe you. He should trust you, your family, over his employer, no? His employee. Yeah,
but it didn't have to go that way for both sides. Could have been better, but whatever. It was what it was. And because of that fight, we said, you know what? It's better that you leave. He told me, and I said, that's true. It's better because we're uncle. He's my uncle. Yeah. How are we gonna fight? We're family. We love each other. Yeah. So why are we gonna fight for business? If business is gonna bring us to fight, it's better to leave business. Yeah. So I left back. I went to my mother, and then I started reading, buying more books, and then COVID was like not stopping because people even wear masks still. I don't understand it. But when things were going down and they opened the airport, I was every day, not every day, but a lot of days in the week, I would dive into Hashem because I learned in Pirkei Avos that it says a person needs a rabbi, a chabrusa, a good friend, and a community.
Rav, chaver, and
a community.
Community.
All those things, tzibur. Yeah. All those 3 things. So I wanted it. I was like, that's what I need. So I dive into Hashem every day. I want this, I want this, I want this. And
but you dive in with your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. I love talking. I prefer is not the word, but
it's more espodedos, which it is praying. It is praying. It's talking to God.
Yes, but you got to do still shachari, mincha, mark. But it's good that once in a while, like really, like when you're grabbing water, Hashem is everywhere. Yeah. You know, Hashem is listening to us right now, to everyone. You could really stop and say in your mind, Hashem, I'm hungry, I want a burrito. You know, if you could say something so simple, how much more so you're gonna say, Hashem, I need a house because I have nowhere to live. If you need a house, you also need a burrito.
Do you feel that if
Like,
just by asking you're gonna get?
If that's the will of Hashem, yeah, definitely.
But sometimes it's not.
Sometimes not. So sometimes when you don't get something, it's because Hashem doesn't want you to get that because He has something better for you. Because whatever He wants to give you is the best for you. So whatever you want that is not what He wants is lower than what He wants for you, you know?
Right.
Because it's best. So
And you see that with challenges as well, not just with good things in life?
For now, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because challenges, they're in the moment they're hard. But if you are able to, in that moment, stop and be objective about it, put your emotions for a second and pause, and say, who knows? Like really, who knows what's actually happening? The only thing I see is a flat tire, but in 100 degrees outside, in the middle of nowhere. That's the only thing I see. But I don't know what happened before this. I don't know what's gonna happen afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. We don't know nothing about life, literally. And we don't. So why not put everything in Hashem's hands? It's already there. We just think we have it in our hands, but nothing is in our hands.
So I want to get back to your story, but I have a question. When you're unsure of something, I know that you're very into, like, the watch has a manual, the car has a manual, life now, the Torah is the manual for life. Oh, like this. The Torah is the manual for life. So when you're struck with something that you're unsure of, what do? Okay, you don't even know where to look.
I'll tell you my live example right now.
Okay.
Okay? Not much people know it, but it's kind of obvious. Okay, first, I have a mother. She loves me tons. I love her. I call her every day. I call my grandmother every day. But logically, they're not my family, first. Second of all, they don't have the ability to support me. I don't have a father. So I don't have a career right now. I was a personal trainer. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I did ABA therapy. I don't know if I'll do that anymore. I worked with special needs. I don't know if I'll do that anymore. I don't have a career, like something. I have a goal. Yeah. For sure, 100%. That's what I'm striving for. But talking about income stuff, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. First, second, I don't have a home. I don't have a where, like, I live here in yeshiva. Like, if I gotta move tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, okay, where do I move? You know. So I want to go to Israel. I would love to do Aliyah. That's another thing too, where I'm gonna live over there, where I'm gonna work over there. Mm-hmm. I want to get married, have kids, but I'm not ready with Hashem. I'm not ready. I need to learn more. I need to first some stuff to get myself together in a way that my relationship with Hashem is way better, so I could give more to my wife and my family. So I'm not there yet. Wow. And that takes time. But I'm 25 years old, you know, and so many things. I don't know who's gonna support me when I live with her, and I don't know so many things that I'm like, what is gonna happen? But I think it's awesome that it's like that. It's like, Momish, it's so amazing. Think about it. It's gonna be a great story one day, you know? And just like these, I'm telling you these stories, and we could laugh and we could, you know, smile. But in the moment was like, I'm waking up and working 14 hours a day. And I can't sleep. And my back hurts because I'm sleeping in an air mattress in the middle of nowhere, where there's a guy with a shotgun that I have no idea who he is. Oh my God. Where there's no, you know, so many things. And now
there's dead bodies in the river.
And now I could, and who knows if they were like under whatever. So, so I could say now smiling, I could say laughing. So how much more so later on, you know?
But do
why
you look
worry?
for answers? Like, do you look into the Torah for those answers, or are you just trusting?
So I'll tell you trust him, definitely. I'll tell you this. The other day, a friend from here asked me, how am I happy? How am I smiling and
Yeah.
laughing like every day,
Okay.
every time he sees me? And I tell him, because I have everything I need. How not so? I have literally everything I need. And I give him an example. I said, okay, you could think about, what about the things you don't have? Okay, I don't have a car. I don't need one. Where am I gonna go? Literally.
Central Avenue.
I could walk there. I don't need a car for
you
that.
can walk to Central.
I need to go do groceries. I don't need a car to do that. I
Yeah.
could go. There's Momish 15 minutes away from here, a kosher place where I could do groceries. If I need to go to Manhattan, it will be horrible to take a car there. It's actually better to take a train. You don't have to deal with parking.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a house. Well, I live in a dorm. Why do I need a house for? I live in a dorm. I got everything in a dorm. Oh, but you don't have a kitchen to cook. Yeshiva gives me 3 meals a day. I don't have to cook, right? Oh, but you don't have a wife. Am I ready to have the wife yet? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So how am I going to have a wife if I'm not ready for her? So I don't need one yet that I know of. I don't need none of these things. And the things that I'm not saying right now, I don't need them either. I got everything I need. Hashem gives you everything
You have
need.
everything you need physically. Do you have everything you need emotionally? You have
Emotionally?
focus, passion, drive,
No,
endurance, patience.
no, I need more.
So there are some things that you do need.
Yeah, but those are the things you work for too. Those are the things you dive and you work for. You could have those things if you want to. They're there. They're already there. Hashem laid it there. You see all those Sepharim, they all help you to get there.
Yeah. What is
You
the
know?
one thing emotionally you feel you need right now? Out of everything.
The one thing, Yiras Shamayim and Yiras Chait. That's what I need to work on more. To have in mind that Hashem is there every second of your life. To actually live by it. Because you could say it and then go over there and make an appropriate joke. You know, and are you living it? That's what I'm trying to look for the most. Plus, that's the only thing we have. When I said we don't have nothing in our hands, only everything is in Hashem's hands, there's actually one thing we have in our hands that He doesn't, and that's Yiras Shamayim. So He
And Bechira, I thought. We have the ability to choose.
Yes. Yeah, but you should conduct that with Yiras Shamayim.
You're literally like touching a part inside of me that's like, wow, like after this interview, I'm telling you, like, I'm going to go into just a lot more detail because there's so many questions I have for you. But I don't want it to be about my questions. I'm getting emotional. Oh my gosh, because your story is like amazing. But I want this to be about you. I don't want it to be about my questions. So let's get back to, I guess, your story. We'll talk about my questions when we're done the interview. I also want it to be that anybody that has any questions, that they can leave the comments down below or message me on LinkedIn at Malia Feivelson, and I will forward them to Avraham. So do you go by Avraham or Abraham at this point?
Avraham.
You're Avraham. So let's continue in your story.
Okay.
So that, yeah, because I want to make sure that we get that fully.
So what is coming up is awesome. So since my grandma, 15 years old, my first job was when I was 12 years old, kind of, yeah. So when I was 15 years old, I learned about Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, so no more working on Shabbos. That was something.
You're like, yes, a day off.
It was Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's like universal, like, yeah. So I stopped working on Shabbos and whatever. So let's see, where was I? Okay.
You were saying how Hashem moved
during
you
COVID.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during COVID you were learning.
During COVID,
everything.
I was learning, and then but I wanted those 3 things.
Yeah.
right? So one day, a friend out of nowhere, good friend, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, because secular.
Okay.
Good friend, but there was always bad decisions in the moment,
Okay.
you know. But he calls me, tells me, AB, he called me AB too. AB, why are you in Colombia? You're a citizen. You were born in Miami. You could come here and work. And if I'm working, he doesn't has his papers yet. He tells me why you should be here. So I said the airport just opened. I should, but it's not that easy. You just can't grab stuff and move. You need a place where to stay, and money. Right now, I've been living during COVID with my savings, and I recently lost money with the hens, whatever. So he tells me, stay with me, stay in my room. I could hook you up with a job, and I got you. So I said, definitely. Wow. I literally, while I was talking on the phone, I looked for flight tickets. Yeah. And I saw one so cheap, I bought it on the spot, and for like the next 4 days, 3-4 days. So then I would go to my mother, and I'm like, I'm going to Pennsylvania, and she's like, why Pennsylvania? And I said, no, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna work there for a while. Yeah. And she tells me, oh, when? 3-4 days? What? Again, you're doing this? You were so good. You went to your uncle. Look what happened. Now you're going to Pennsylvania. I said, listen, I got nothing here. Yeah. What's holding me back? If something will come back, you have the doors open for me? She said, yes, of course. Okay, so why worry? Yeah. So I moved in with him. We were in the same room. It was a little bit crowded. And I worked there. I was there for a month and for 5-6 weeks. And he tells me one day, AB, I'm so sorry, but my family just gave me a surprise. They're coming in 3 days. Oh, no. And they have to stay in my room, too. My mother and the sister are staying with me, so I need you to move out. I'm sorry. So I was like, listen, if I was in the same place, I would do the same thing. Okay. You know, whatever. It is what it is. So I was looking for places. Nothing. And then a friend calls me, and he tells me, I heard you were in the United States. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm in North Carolina.
Oh my gosh, you're literally going all over.
Yeah, he told me.
To know that you ended up in Rockaway is like, wow.
No, before that I was in Flatbush.
Oh, Flatbush, wow, even better. So you went to North Carolina?
So yes, he told me, listen, I got with everything. So the crazy thing, it was momish crazy being in North Carolina, because he told me the job is doing deliveries. And I told him I don't have a driver license. I have one in Colombia, but not here. He tells me, don't worry, everything is under the table. No taxes, no nothing. If you work with the IRS, I didn't say this.
They're my partners, no.
Yeah. So I said, yeah, sure, let's go. So it was December, and they needed, since it was deliveries, a lot of people asked for their clothing and gifts. So it was a lot of work. You would work there from 7 a.m. all the way to 12 a.m., 11 p.m.
Oh my God. Hope the money was good, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, it's okay. So plus I didn't have where to live. So I was like, sure, if I have to go all the way to have a house where to sleep, sure, let's go. So I moved, whatever. I started working. And at work, they call me bad luck.
Bad luck?
In Spanish, mala suerte. Bad luck. Okay. Oh, here comes bad luck. Because they gave me 4 cars in 1 month.
Oh, no.
And I have 3 of them broke down.
Oh, no.
For example, one, I was driving.
It's like Hashem wanted you out of there.
Mamish. I was driving once, and I was going into a highway, and there was a red light, and I was the first one, thank God. And I went to hit the brake, and the brake just stayed in the bottom, and the car just kept going. And I was like, oh
no!
I was like, no way. So I just kept on going, and I was like, okay,
no.
I need to use my. Good thing I was going slow because it was already
your emergency
yellow.
Brake, yeah. Okay.
Good thing it was going slow, yellow. So I started using my emergency brake. I used it like you use it, you don't use it. Use it, you don't use it. Because if you use it like that, then you just go . So I started doing like that. And then out of nowhere, the police stops me. It was a detective. So he got mad because of the light, because it's like it was going into
like an intersection.
Yeah, so he got mad. He asked me for my driver license, so I told him I forgot it. Always be straight up, just say the truth, because every time I said a lie, it went just bad.
Oh God.
So that was one. The other one was, it was dumb because I stopped the car, but I forgot to put in the parking, and then it was a huge truck, and then I started grabbing like the package.
Oh no!
And out of nowhere, the car just hits the car in the front.
Oh.
And then the owner comes out and he starts screaming at me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. And no, let me call the police. No, let me pay you. I'll pay you. It was an older car. I'm like, let me pay you. I'll pay you from the pocket. I don't want another ticket. This and that. He called the police. And then the police came, and the guy was like, everyone okay? He was like, oh, peace and love. Yeah. You don't have driver's license, don't worry. If you're okay, it's okay. So I was like, I'm like, whoa, I love this.
Wow.
The third one, the plate was made of paper, and it would go up and down. Up and down,
oh, no.
Up and down, up and down. So a police stops me, and he was angry. He was so angry, I don't know what. He tells me, listen, I am a sergeant in the police, and I am a veteran.
Sergeant.
Yeah, I'm a veteran, and you are nothing to me. I'm supposed to take you now because this is like your third, fourth time, and you're just laughing at us. But I'm not taking you because you are nothing to me.
What?
If I take you, I'm supposed to be. He told me I'm supposed to be taking big cases, and you're not. He told me like I'm nothing like 10 times. So he told me leave. So when he tells me leave, I told him, officer, I have never been so happy to be nothing in my life.
That is an amazing line.
Yeah, because listen, if I was something for him, he would have taken me.
Yeah.
So sure, you want to say I'm nothing? I'm nothing.
Yeah.
You want to say I'm something? I'm something. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. But if you're not taking me because I'm nothing, sure. So I told him that, he crapped out laughing. He just laughed. Yeah. He said, get out of here,
That's a very good line.
He just said, get out of here. So by that point, I was like, okay, I need to leave.
Yeah, you need to leave. You need to get out. You need to get out of North Carolina and not go back.
Yeah, I need to leave because it was 3 court dates. It's whatever. So it was.
No, you have to go to those court cases.
Sure.
You can't not show up at court? Okay, you didn't show up at court. Okay, moving on from the story.
No, I paid 2.
Yeah.
Two tickets, and they took out the court dates. But
okay.
I still have one, but that's another case, whatever. So I said I need to move.
Yeah.
So I had a cousin here in New York.
Oh.
So I said, let me move in with her. So I moved in with her. Baruch Hashem, she let me. And it was a small space in 42nd Street, 10th Ave, the middle of Manhattan. And it was a lot of people in there, family, all cousins. And we were all like unemployed. So like in the day we were like all looking at each other like, what are we gonna do next? Like what should we do? I started buying even more courses. I'm like, I need to feel like I'm doing something here.
I hope that apartment looked amazing, because if 10 people are living in an apartment,
no, it wasn't 10.
It wasn't 10. But if a bunch of people, like, you guys could repaint.
No, but there was two little cousins, like a year old, so they were playing and throwing everything like kids.
Oh, okay.
I would play with them, but okay. So by this point, I came here to the United States. Okay, Pennsylvania. Okay, I looked over there for synagogues and everything. Nothing. I looked in North Carolina. The rabbi wasn't there. Whatever.
You were not meant to be in North Carolina.
Yeah,
clearly.
Definitely.
Clearly.
That was for me. I said I would live here. I love that state. But Hashem said, like, no, you're not living here.
You're supposed to be there.
I tried to. Actually, I was looking like apartments and this and that, a car to buy, whatever, like driver license.
Mm-hmm. So now you're here in New York.
So I was here. I am here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you are.
yeah, I think so. I think we're in New York.
So, where was I? So
you're looking for more courses to take?
No, yeah. So okay, so I usually never feel anxious or like not depressed, but like so lost. I was so lost. I was like, sometimes I would how you call this?
Shaking?
Yeah, I was shake of anxiety. Like, I
Oh,
was
wow.
feeling so bad. And then one day I just couldn't more. So I went downstairs and I started walking and just talking to Hashem.
And you knew it
Literally.
was Hashem that you're talking to, or talking to God?
No, Hashem.
You're talking to Hashem, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Hashem, yeah. I knew some like Rashi stuff. I knew like some Midrash stuff because
Yeah.
I've been reading whatever. And I walked and just explained to him all that has been happening, like if he didn't know. Like every single thing. Here happened this, and I feel like this. But at the end of that moment of talking with him, spoke for like an hour and a half. I told him, listen, I always felt like, literally, these were my words. I always felt like if I'm the boss. Like if I want to go here, I go here. If I want to do this, I will do this. If this is my goal, I'll go for it. And I've never asked you for any, like, should I do this? Now, my life, I said, like, I was talking like figurative. Like, my life is like a company, and I'm the boss. But this job is too much for me.
Wow.
Just too much for me. I can't. I literally, these words were my words. I quit. I don't want to work in this anymore. I quit. You're the boss now. I'm going to be the assistant.
Wow.
And literally I told him, if you want me to grab coffee, I'll go buy coffee. You want me to fax something? I'll fax something. If you like your coffee with 2 sugars, one Splenda, I don't know, whatever, I'll bring it to you. Anything you want, I'll do.
Wow.
But I'm not taking decisions anymore. So that, me like taking...
You literally let go of full control out of your entire life, and you gave everything up to God. And you like
Literally.
let it all out. Like, He is now in control of everything.
Literally, but like in a way that it was so true, because I went upstairs to the apartment, zero anxiety. In my mind, I was like, I don't need to worry anymore.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, it's not in my hands. Like, that's it.
Was that when you decided, okay, this is when I'm converting fully?
No, when I wanted to convert fully was when I was in Colombia. That I wanted a community, and that's when I said I want to convert. But it's not easy in Colombia.
Right. So that's why you
Especially-
came to here.
That's why I
And
came
then New York.
here. That was my goal here.
Yeah.
Is that if I had to go to Pennsylvania first, whatever, I have to go to North Carolina first, okay. But my goal was, just didn't know where. That's why I had so much anxiety, because I did not know what to do in my goal. I don't know where to go.
So what happened when you
Who
got
to
up to
talk.
the apartment?
Got upstairs, never slept so good. I was like, no more problems, that's it. But in my mind, I said, okay, but I still have to do something.
Yeah.
It's not gonna come to me. So I grabbed Google Maps and I searched synagogue. And there was like red dots. So I started putting like the address of each one, and I grabbed like 9 of them, and I made a route. The next day I grabbed my bike, and it was like Midtown, New York, Lower East Side, somewhere around Williamsburg,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and then back up to Lower East Side. Last stop, Lower East Side, and back home. That was like I said, that's my exercise, and I'm searching for what I want.
Yeah.
So I started going to each one. Before that, I made calls. That's why I felt so anxious. 'Cause I made calls, and I was applying for like 12 jobs, and none of them will call back. That was my anxiety too.
Yeah.
So I went to each synagogue. Some were closed because of COVID. Some were open, but they said we don't work with that. On one, they opened the door. One day I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna say, "Hi, how are you?"
And they're gonna be
I'm
like,
Jewish
"Who are
now.
you?"
Come on, titties. Literally, I'm gonna go there and just say hi. Blinner. So I got there, and there was a bodyguard outside. He's like, "What do you need?" And I said, "Listen, can I talk to someone?" He said, "What do you need?" I'm looking to convert, and I started explaining to him. He's like, "Yeah, I don't understand none of that. Let me bring someone." So they brought someone, and she's like, "What do you need?" So I told her what I needed, and she's like, "Okay, so write your name and your phone number, give it to the bodyguard, he'll give it to me, I'll give it to the assistant of the rabbi, but the rabbi is not here. So once the rabbi gets here, he will give it to the rabbi."
Yeah. You're like, that is a
That
long
is-
process just to speak to a rabbi.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
I put my name and I gave it to him, like with a angry face. I was like, this is not good anywhere.
Yeah.
He looked at me like, I don't know, man. And whatever. So I have no idea why. I shouldn't put it in my mind, but I have no idea why the route I put it like mid Manhattan, Lower East Side, Williamsburg, and the last stop was in Lower East Side again.
Yeah.
I was there already. Why
Yeah.
would I make another stop there at the end?
I have no idea.
So it was the last one. It was like 2 p.m. and I was hungry, tired, because I've been cycling all that.
All day, literally.
Literally. And then I was like, I want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore for today. So I was about to go home and I said, no, this is the last stop. I'll feel a lot better if I do the last stop and I know that I did everything and I go home and sleep.
Yeah.
That's how I work. So I went to the last one. I go inside and everyone is just shuckling Daven Mincha. And I'm like, what's happening here? I'm like, why? What is this? Everybody's wearing white and black. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Why am I, what? So I said, you know what? They're all busy. They're all busy. I don't know what
You
they're
don't know
doing.
what they're doing, but
they're busy. I know
Okay.
they're busy for sure. You can't hear a fly in there. You could hear a fly if there was.
Yeah.
So I stepped out, and then I receive a call. I'm deaf through my left ear. So I receive a call, and out of nowhere, I hear in the back, do you need help? Like in the back, like a small little voice. The first time I hear it, I ignored it. It was so small.
Yeah.
It's like, do you need help? It's like, who? They're talking to someone else.
Yeah.
And then I hear it again, a little bit louder. Do you need help? So I look back, and I see a young guy, and I'm like, yes, I need help.
This is from the shul that you just came out of?
Yeah, I just literally came out like 4 steps down
Oh, wow.
because I was receiving that call, and then he tells me, yeah, what do you need? What do you need? So I started explaining him a little bit, and he's like, oh, that's very interesting. Just give me 10 minutes. I need
Yeah.
daven mincha.
Okay.
And I said, okay. So when he said mincha, I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. 'Cause
You heard about it?
I heard about it. So I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay. Okay. He said like, yeah, come daven. And I was like, he
Okay.
passed me a sitter, and I'm like, close it, and just talking to Hashem in my mind. Like Hashem literally told him where I've been, like he didn't know. And I told him, please help, like make this be the last stop.
Yeah.
Help me with this stop.
Okay.
Like finally somebody's like trying to hear me out.
Yeah.
So I spoke with him like for an hour, and he was like astonished. He wanted to help me, so he said, I actually have the best contact for you. And I said, who is it?
Yeah.
I grabbed my phone, who is it?
Yeah.
And he said, grab the number, grab the email, and it's Rabbi Rum,
Okay.
which is part of the Beis Din for conversions in Manhattan, New York.
Oh, cool.
So he gave me like the best contact I could have had, like from everyone,
Yeah.
because he's a part of the Beis Din. So I called him. He brought me in. He asked questions. He told me all the reasons not to convert.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sent me to a Rabbi Avraham, Rabbi Reuben, his name. I started learning with him, and I started with the Aleph base,
Nice.
and yeah, and then I just.
So you
started-
didn't have that sense of people pushing you away in the beginning?
No, yeah, definitely.
You did have that?
Yeah, definitely. They both, before the classes, they both started telling me, you don't need to, why, this, that. And then I needed to dive in somewhere close.
Yeah.
So they sent me to BJX.
I don't know what that is.
That is an amazing place. Like,
Yeah.
if you are in Brooklyn, you're staying in Brooklyn, it's in 29 and K, just go there. It's amazing.
BJX.
BJX. It's a Kirov. They're 2 rabbis there. They're
Mhm.
brothers. It's
Yeah.
amazing. They're awesome. Like, wow.
So is that how your actual conversion started, from this? And you started learning with this Rabbi Ram?
Yeah, no, Rabbi Reuben. Started learning with Rabbi Reuben. Then so I started going to BJX, but the first time I went to BJX, they asked me, they told me like 15 minutes, straight up 15 minutes of just telling me why you need to convert. You need to do this, you need to convert. You could do this. You could win a lamabah with being converted. And then so many things. And they pushed me off. I think they were the most ones that pushed me off in one sitting.
Wow.
Like,
were you like,
really.
I'm done with Judaism, or you're like, no, I'm still gonna convert?
No, definitely. I was like, for one moment, they were talking so much and telling me so much that I shouldn't. That I was trying to like stop them to talk. Like, let me talk now. Like,
Yeah.
I want to give my reason why. By some point, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let them talk.
Yeah.
So once they finished, they both like started looking at me like, what are you gonna say after all of this?
Yeah.
I gave them my reason, kind of like why. And in one moment they told me it's harder to be Jewish. It's hard to be Jewish. You got a lot of rules per se, a lot of minhagim, a lot of stuff. Like it's easier to live life outside Judaism. And my answer to them was and is, what do you mean it's harder? It's way harder to live out there. If your goal is to have a relationship with Hashem, to get closer to Hashem, to actually accomplish why humans exist, why Adam was created, then out there is way harder. Because the Torah, living the Torah way, halacha, is the way to get closer to Hashem. So if you don't have that, you don't have nothing to get closer to Hashem. So how can you get closer to Hashem? Plus,
is that what you told them?
Yes.
Wow.
So, kind of. Not all of that. I just expounded more here. Kind of. I just told them that it's way harder out there without a Torah. I didn't expound it like that. And then I started going there. Loved it. I still go when we have an off Shabbos here.
So when did you have your full conversion? When were you reborn? Is that what they say? No.
Yeah.
They do?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, right now, if you ask my age, I could say I'm 2 months.
You're 2 months old?
And like 2 weeks old.
So when was the actual conversion?
Rosh Chodesh Sivan. So 2 months.
Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Wow.
So 2 months ago.
Hold on one second. I need to understand this. Rosh Chodesh is right before Shavuos.
Right, exactly. No, right before Shavuos, exactly.
Yeah, right
yes.
before Shavuos. Vav
Yes,
and Zayin Sivan is Shavuos.
Yep.
So you converted right before Shavuos, which is amazing because it's like you received the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did that feel?
That was my first Aliyah. That Shabbos.
And you received the Torah. So how did that feel?
It was awesome. Somebody asked me, what is the same question, and I told them that same day, I told them a huge responsibility. That's what you feel. Because before, okay, you gotta try to follow everything as much as possible. You have to do one melacha on Shabbos, this and that. But in your mind, you're like, okay, if I don't do some stuff, it's like, okay, I don't have to do them. But now you have to do them. You know? And so it's the responsibility.
Yeah.
Plus, being Jewish, the way I see it now, kind of, it's not 100% what I'm about to say, but somehow it's like a career.
Okay.
That sounds like messed up.
Yeah,
but,
I'm like, what are you trying to say over there?
Because if, for example, lehavdil, somebody that is famous, they do one thing wrong, everybody sees it, and it's like a huge thing, you know?
Yeah.
So same way, even if you're not someone famous, you still famous for Hashem.
Yeah.
You are that one soul. You are that one Avraham Ben Avraham. You're that one Mila. You're that one Nisib. You're that one soul.
Yeah.
So you are famous for Hashem.
That's
so your career, whatever you do, is a huge thing for Hashem. Maybe not for your neighbor, unless it's Mara Zion.
Right.
But you know, it's a huge thing.
I find that amazing. I find that by looking at you, like, I would not even know that you're a convert. Like, you literally look like every other yeshiva guy. Like, you're wearing the black and white, the tzitzis out, the yarmulke. Is that a suede? Yes. The black yarmulke. Like, literally, do you like this gear? Like, this garb, whatever, what you're wearing? Do you miss your other clothes? Like,
so, I mean, it's complicated because I feel like you don't, how can I say this? To be the best person you could be, to be the closest to Hashem you could be, to be as following the halakha as possible. You don't have to wear white and black.
No, you don't.
You don't have to have payos.
Yeah.
For some people, you do. You don't have to have a hat. You don't have to wear every day. You know, for example, Rabban Gamliel in the bracha says that your inside has to be like your outside.
Or your outside
Yeah.
has to be like your inside?
No, he would do a test that to see if your inside was like your outside, meaning that everybody would look so awesome, so
okay.
good.
That's
like,
what you mean.
But the inside is like not so good.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Yeah.
Are you actually there? Now,
Or
if
do you just
say,
look the part?
exactly, or you're just looking.
Yeah.
So you could be having white and black doesn't mean nothing in that point, in that sense.
So why do they make it so much that this is what yeshiva guys wear? That's always what I was curious about.
Because that is, if I'm not wrong, there's a Gemara that says, or somewhere that says that is like the how do you call that? That is like the uniform per se.
The dress code?
That's a uniform. That's a uniform.
Yeah, I guess.
So
I don't know, I'll have to look into that a little bit more.
But you gotta look good.
Yeah, you gotta feel good.
gotta feel
When you
good.
look good, you feel good. The last question before we end, there's so much that like I could talk to you about. But I want to know, what would you say was and is your biggest challenge going from being, a non-Jew to now being a ger? What is that biggest challenge that you faced?
The biggest challenge, because I lived alone and I was in a very secular circle, I had more connection with speaking to women.
Oh,
Not
wow.
necessarily stuff that if you're not married you can't do. Not necessarily stuff that you shouldn't do. But just a conversation, because women think so different.
Yeah.
Women are just, of course, they're so different. I mean, than men, of course. Like, it's
Different
obvious.
species.
Yeah, that's obvious. So I always connected more with speaking to women, even as just like stam friends, than men. But then, it's you gotta know.
So
Judaism is
why
more.
do you feel you can't do that now, being a religious Jew?
I'm doing it. It's just that it's harder,
You're speaking with
It's
Jewish
something
girls
you miss.
now?
No, but you miss it. You miss it. It's something you miss. Like, for example, I didn't eat pork for years because of when I was 15. 14. Having meat with cheese, not a problem. I don't know, not going outside, not a problem. But that connection with a woman, I think man needs it. A man is incomplete without a woman.
Wow.
So it's like something in me is like, I want that.
Do you see
woman.
a difference in the Jewish girls?
Definitely, 100% sure.
What do you see?
100%. Virtues, values, different mindset. Not everything is about this life. More spiritual. Usually are more down to earth. Usually, not everyone. And it's just the values.
Wow.
It's the values. They want a family. Nowadays, people outside of the Jewish world don't believe in marriage. Don't believe in families. They just want to go out and do whatever. So in the Jewish world, that is like top thing. As the goal of every 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think it's just awesome that women are.
Yeah. Is it interesting? I know I said we're going to end by the last question, but we got into this topic. Is it interesting to you that in the Jewish world, people are getting married so young?
A little bit. In the beginning, yeah, but it's because we're in 2022. Nowadays, for us, like a lot of stuff is like, don't you think it's weird? Don't you think it's it's like, what? It's because we're so low. Humanity is so low that we see it like a huge thing. Like, for example, wearing a suit. Back in the days, everybody was wearing suits.
Yeah, everybody did.
So now, because nobody's wearing suits, it's weird to wear suits. So it's mostly because of in the year we are living in, we see stuff that is weird, but I think weirder is to get married later on in life just because you want to live your life the wrong way.
Wow, that's very powerful. So Abraham, is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience before we say goodbye? Anything that you haven't shared yet?
Everything, something that I haven't shared yet. I don't know.
If you feel you've done it, you've said it, then great.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you just have to. So it was something that I would say, okay, usually we try to live always in the future. Usually we always trying to think ahead, and we are not living the present. And the present is what actually is what we actually have a little bit in our hands. Our free will that you said, Yira Shamayim that I said, it's in the present, it's not in the future. So something that we have to do more is live that present. The best way, connected to Hashem. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That's so inspiring. Your whole story is so inspiring, and I know that there's so much more, but we're going to have to wrap it up for now because we're out of time. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to Hebrew Hits. This is Avraham Ben Avraham, and he just shared his story on becoming a ger. He's a ger now for 2 months. He became a ger on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, and I'm so happy that I got the chance to interview him. Thank you so much for being here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and you can follow Hebrew Hits Radio on YouTube at Hebrew Hits Radio, and we have a website, HebrewHitsRadio.com, and you can send me any messages to Malia Feivelson on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being here with me, and please share this episode with at least one person. If you enjoyed it, definitely share it. We'll be back next week.